roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Want to jump right in? You can always depend on propaganda. Life is so hard, so confusing. Everyone's just trying to make ends meet. You can brighten up their day, keep the facts out of their way. Just simplify the complex, repeat, repeat, repeat. Propaganda.
Yeah.
If you need to change a subject,
propaganda. Propaganda just can repeat. I need to know what they're repeating, and I need to ask someone that knows. For a lot of his adult life, it came to him from where? Here's a guy that he starts off in the Army, becomes an officer. You know, he's the tip of the spear for the man, and all of a sudden he goes, you know what? I don't want to be tip of the spear anymore. So, Mr. Bill Buppert, you need to help me out here. You know, you were constitutionalist. You were out there a willing participant in. You know, you were in the, the elite. You know, we can get into all that maybe. But, you know, the point is that, man, you were a well-trained individual, and you're out doing the will of the man, and something changed. So walk me through this process that your brethren out there are going through right now, a lot of these young guys, and coming back from Iraq, going onto these SWAT teams. And I've talked to some of these guys. Their mindset is totally different than a lot of people think. While they're complaining that they're amped up and they're adrenaline junkies in Iraq going door to door, kicking in and laying waste, now they come back here, they get on a SWAT team, a day goes by, they're not raiding somebody, man, they're getting antsy, man, their toes starts tapping, they're like, let's go, and they're looking for opportunities. Powell brought up in the break, he goes, you know, I don't think they're checking to see who these guys are. You know, we have, Drew was reading a story about they just raided some mayor and killed his dog in Maryland. You know, they just want the action. They want to go out there, and they're getting funded by the federal government, and that's how the money flows in through drug war. You got your car stolen. You can't get them to come out and even do a police report. Now we'll do it by phone. Yeah, but I smelled marijuana. Boom, here comes the helicopters. There's something wrong, and I need to get from your perspective, as a young man going through the Army and making this transition, how did that happen?
Well, it happened for me because eventually, while I really dug all the training I was provided and the opportunities that I had, I discovered that when I was going around the globe in various neo-imperialist ventures and subsets thereof, something wasn't clicking right for me. And I was wondering, what does this have to do with our freedom and our security? Because time and again, I will be stopped at veterans events, and somebody will come up to me and shake my hand and say, "Thank you for your service," to which I answer, "Thank you," to which I ask, "How did I serve you?" And they said, "You protected my freedom." And what I tell them now is I say, I appreciate your sentiment, but we didn't serve your freedom. What we've done is that war is the health of the state, as Randolph Bourne said. And that beginning in 1898 and going through World War I, World War II, and all the other conflicts that we've been involved in, exponentially so after the Cold War ended, what we've discovered is that we're not making our nation freer. We're making it we're putting it at a much graver risk security-wise because we have pissed off so much of the planet's surface with our killing of brown people and killing of people whose creeds are different from ours, or killing of people whose religiosity is different from ours, and the maiming and the killing of the women and children in what is so quaintly called collateral damage, and the use of bombing missions and such. You look at that and you ask yourself, okay, how is this making us freer? Well, one consequence it has, which you just spoke to, is that now we have the militarization of police. Down to the local level, you can look at every burg, every district, every local constabulary county. They all got their SWAT teams. They've all got their set teams. They've all got these guys who are militarized. They're jackbooted. They've got the fancy haircuts. They've got the helmets. They even pulled an armored vehicle up to Guerena's house when they conducted this raid that day on May 5th. They have this attitude that it's us versus them. And another attitude that they have that I think is very dangerous, we could spend hours talking about this, Ernie. The other attitude they have that is extraordinarily dangerous to me, and I wrote about this on my blog, which is called zerogov.com. It was called Officer Safety and the Abridgment of Liberty. Because if we examine this notion that, well, the officer thought he was in danger, well, he saw a furtive movement, well, he was resisting arrest, well, he was running away and he offered a danger. So Are the officers actually saying, and this is the way they see it, that their safety and their lives are more important than the citizens they're supposed to serve? Because, of course, they talk about criminals, but in the end, what it is, it's that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. If that's the case, they aren't exactly criminals when they're being apprehended and detained and arrested by cops. This notion of militarization, coupled with the drug war, coupled with this notion that they are much more important, their lives, their safety is much more important than that of ordinary citizens, that's a dangerous trend, and it makes it into this kind of cocktail that's going to lead to nothing more than the Stalinization of the United States. It's going to make everybody a criminal, as if they aren't already, because I suspect that we break 1 to a dozen laws every day that we don't even have an expectation of breaking because we don't know what the hell they're about. Blackstone did not say if you don't know the law that means that you're still held accountable. What Blackstone said, he said, laws, and I paraphrase, that every reasonable man would assume are laws. No reasonable man thinks that because you wish to alter your own consciousness with a plant that was put on this earth by the Creator, that because of it being granted illegality, that your death could be imminent because you don't comply. It's wrong. I mean, look, Adam Kokesh was arrested for dancing at the Thomas Jefferson Memorial last weekend. Good God.
You know, there's so many things that you opened up, but I want to drill down into one basic thing for a lot of the audience that doesn't understand how dangerous it is to have the concept of you must obey the law, and if you say no, you subject yourself to the death penalty. And I'm going,
you do quite literally, because in Indiana, the Supreme Court there just said that you don't even have the ability, a majority decision, by the way, you don't have the ability to resist an illegal police invasion of your house.
Yeah, this is just the last couple of weeks.
It was.
And of course they reveal themselves by being very clear that the government is not there to protect you or your rights. It's there to protect them.
This is not about criminality, it's about obedience.
And you have the Patriot Act and all the stuff that goes with that. And they try and give the idea, well, it's protect us against the terrorists. No, it's protect the government against us. They weren't worried.
Exactly.
They weren't worried about the terrorists. That was just the excuse. That was the reason. What they were looking to do is to protect themselves from what the inevitability of the people rising up as the dollar goes away.
Yes, I think you're right. Can I run some numbers real quick that is going to astonish your audience?
Please.
As far as U.S. incarceration rates, because this is an important component of what this is about, because cops are basically concierges to select citizens to see who's going to be caged, and ultimately, if they resist, who's going to be maimed and killed. Between 1880 and 1970, our per 100,000 capita imprisonment rate was between 100 and 200. In 1980, it went to 220 per 100,000. 1990, it went to 458 per 100,000. 2000, 683. 2008, last statistics, 753 and climbing. The majority of offenders who are in the federal prison system are nonviolent drug offenders. The majority of the offenders who are in the state prison systems are violent offenders. Now, this is a violence that is manifested by what the cops call violence or what the justice system calls violence, so it may not always be what they characterize it to be. What this means is that we have nearly 4 times the prison population of the peak prison population in 1953 of Stalin's gulags for both common criminals and political criminals.
Whoa. Say that again.
What this means is that we have nearly 4 times the prison population, this is imprisoned on parole and probation, of the 1953 peak of Stalin's Russia with political and criminal prisoners in the gulag system.
Wow. I'm wondering at what... This is what you and I and a lot of the people that are aware know. It's all coming down. It can't... Financially, it can't sustain itself. Morally,
economically, we've gone over the cliff.
Yeah, and morally, it can't. That's been well known to a lot of people for a long time. But there are a lot of supporters. I mean, they think they're free because they get to beg somebody for their freedom. Well, at least
That's
we get
what government education delivers.
Yeah, at least we get to beg for it. You know, what would happen if we didn't get to beg anymore? Well, then we wouldn't be free. Oh, hey, Bill, thanks for coming on, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm glad you were down
thanks for
there.
having me.
I know we were all well represented by having Bill Buppert and get to talk to the wife of a fallen fellow citizen that served his country 2 tours in Iraq, right? Wasn't it 2 tours?
2 tours. Well, I'm always honored to be on your show. Thank you, Ernie.
Thank you, Bill. We'll be right back here on Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, in just a little bit here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the beautiful studios of Freedom's Phoenix. You guys stay right there. Drew, Pal, and I are going to dissect the news when we come back. Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.